Alright, one more type of factoring we're going to look at is we're going to look at factoring by grouping. And we're going to look at two different cases. Alright, but the first case that we're going to look at is when the parentheses match. So when we're factoring by grouping, the point is we want to find the parentheses that match, and that binomial is going to be factored out. Alright, so go ahead and write down these two examples, and then we're going to take a look at them individually. Alright, so for my first example, I have 2 times x plus 4 plus y times x plus 4. So again, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the parentheses that matches. So if I find what matches, I see that x plus 4 and x plus 4 match. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to factor it out. So in one set of parentheses, I have x plus 4. And then what comes in my second set of parentheses is what's left over. So I have a 2 left over from the first one, and then I have a plus y that's left over from the second one. And so those two things are going to go in my sets of parentheses. So what I get is x plus 4 times 2 plus y. And that would be my final answer. Alright, so for my second example, now what I have is x squared times x plus 7 minus 2 times x plus 7. So again, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the parentheses that are the same, and so I can factor it out. What's the same is I have an x plus 7. I also have another x plus 7, so that means that I can factor out my x plus 7. My second set of parentheses comes from what's left over. Alright, so what I have left over is an x squared and a minus 2. So I take those two things that are left over. So x squared minus 2 is going to go in my second set of parentheses. Alright, but my second case is going to be when my parentheses almost match. So what I mean by almost matching is you're going to see some subtraction in there, but instead of the terms being in the same order, they're going to be in a different order, so we're going to have to change it. So for example, in my first one, I say that my parentheses almost match because I have x minus 4, but then I have 4 minus x. Alright, I can't factor it out until it looks exactly the same. So since my first one says x minus 4, I want to change my second one so it also says x minus 4. But that means that my x has to become positive, so this is going to have to change. Also, my 4 has to become negative, so this has to change. Well, in order to take these two signs and make them become the opposite, I have to factor out my negative, which means this sign is going to have to change. So I would rewrite this as x times x minus 4, because I haven't changed the first part. Now my plus is going to turn into a minus, and then here my 4 becomes negative, my x becomes positive, so I can switch around my terms so that it's positive x minus 4, so that it looks like this guy over here. Now I do have parentheses that match. My parentheses that match are x minus 4 and x minus 4, which means I can take an x minus 4 and factor it out. And then again, my second set of parentheses comes from what's left over. Now what's left over is this x and this minus 2. So x minus 2 is what I would factor out, and this would be my final answer. X minus 4 times x minus 2. Alright, same thing in the second example. I have y squared times x minus 2 minus 3 times 2 minus x. So again, what's in parentheses almost matches. I have x minus 2, but then I got 2 minus x. So this 2 minus x, I need to change it so that it looks like this guy. So what I have to do is my x needs to become positive, my 2 needs to become negative. In order to do that, I'm going to factor out a negative, so all three of these signs are going to have to change. So this sign's going to have to change, this sign's going to have to change, this sign's going to have to change. My beginning stays the same, so I still have y squared times x minus 2, but now what's going to happen is everything that I've circled changes. So this minus becomes plus 3, my 2 becomes negative, my x becomes positive, so I can rewrite that as positive x minus 2 so that my parentheses match. Now that my parentheses match, I can go ahead, find what's the same, which is x minus 2, and I'm going to factor that guy out. And then what's going to go in my second set of parentheses? It's what's left over, and what's left over is y squared plus 3. So in my second set of parentheses, I've got y squared plus 3.